Hello, and welcome to the Frontiers of Science podcast, the show taking a look at the weird side of the edge of science. This episode was written by Michal, an international business student here at the University of Groningen. This episode, we're going to be looking a little bit broader at the conspiracy theories surrounding CERN. And you might notice we've done something a little bit differently with this episode. Maybe you can figure it out. We'll let you know at the end, though. Without further ado, on with the show.
Each of us would now be able to name a few conspiracy theories without much effort. Among other things, thanks to social media, they have become incredibly viral and gather more and more followers. However, not only anonymous internet users start to believe them, but also celebrities. We all probably remember the incredibly popular flat earth theory that was an internet hit not so long ago. One of the most popular basketball players in the NBA, Kyrie Irving, stated in an interview in 2017 that the earth is flat. Let's hear it.
Just a shout out to you. He came to us and he listens to super conspiracy theory guy. This is not even conspiracy. The earth is flat.
Yeah, no, the earth is flat.
Oh, here we go.
We can guess how much criticism he brought upon himself with this statement. He then explained in interviews that at that time he was very overwhelmed by the plethora of conspiracy theories, and therefore delivered these infamous words. Irving's explanation is somewhat understandable if we consider that conspiracy theories are indeed everywhere. Sometimes these theories have a profound effect on the lives of innocent individuals. As it happened in the case of Pablo Vergara, whom internet users selected as Alyssa Lamb's killer. In a mysterious case, they caught the attention of the public. Although there was no evidence that Vergara could even be a suspect, the internets turned his life into hell, leading to depression. Another example is the Washington pizzeria comet ping pong.
The election may be over, but the hysteria surrounding it is not. The latest example, on Sunday, police say a 35-year-old man walked into a Washington pizza restaurant called Comet Ping Pong with a gun.
Edgar Welch, whom we just heard about on the news, was, surprisingly, driven by a good cause. He wanted to save the children trapped in the basement of the premises on his own. He believed that such crimes took place in Comet Ping Pong because, according to popular conspiracy theory, it was a place of smuggling children and satanic rituals. Fortunately, no one was hurt during the intervention. Based on the above examples, we can see how much negative impact theories can have on the functioning of both individuals and other entities. CERN is also no exception, as there are many similar theories about it. This is where the answer to the question in the title lies. Both Charles Manson and CERN were accused of carrying out satanic rituals. In addition, the Swiss Research Center was also accused of the ability to open portals to other dimensions or cause earthquakes. A famous American writer, Fritz Leiber, once said, "If you assume a big enough conspiracy, you can explain anything, including the cosmos itself." Among other things, the fact that the research conducted by CERN is often incomprehensible to the average person, and the place itself seems extremely inaccessible, has led to the creation of these often crazy theories. At some point, they gained such popularity that a special section was published on the CERN website, which initially was called Surreal Questions and Answers, in which the facility answers questions about these theories. Some of them are really crazy. Therefore, in this episode, we will look at the most interesting conspiracy theories about CERN. CERN, Satan's Playground. The title of this part of our conspiracy theories review is directly taken from Nick Huntley, who called his book that. As we can guess, this is a work of art that ponders the possibility that CERN aims to open a portal through which the army of hell, headed by Satan, will enter our world. Best of all, Nick is not alone in his beliefs. The theory according to which CERN is closely connected with Satanists is the most popular of all theories. Its supporters argue that there are many indications for this fact, such as the logo of the facility itself, which they believe consists of 3 sixes, which is supposed to symbolize 666, the number of Satan. To be fair though, we can distinguish 3 sixes. However, it's a bit far-fetched. The logo was inspired by the experiments conducted at the facility and depicts lettering surrounded by a schematic synchrotron, beam lines, and particle tracks. Of course, there are many more clues. To get to CERN, starting from Geneva, take tram 18, of which CERN is the final stop. However, 18 is not an ordinary number, as in the tarot card 18 shows a crying moon symbolizing an attempt to destroy spirituality. Another point of reference, the purpose of which was to prove the satanic connections of the facility, is the sculpture of Shiva, which we can admire in front of the building. In Hinduism, Shiva is also called the Destroyer because his job is to create and transform the universe. According to beliefs, this transformation is quite drastic. To create a new universe, Shiva must destroy the old one completely every 2,160,000,000 years. Thus, many people see the sculpture as a supposed symbol of CERN's true intentions. Of course, CERN also addressed these allegations in its famous surreal questions and answers. The facility explained that Shiva was donated by one of the associate member states, India. On the statue of Shiva, he performs the Nataraj dance, also known as the cosmic dance, or the dance of life. It alludes to the cosmic dance of subatomic particles. Moreover, there are also many more works of art and statues on the property, so the Hindu statue is no exception. For some, even the very name of the center raises suspicions. In Celtic mythology, there is the god Cernunnos, or CERN for short. As luck would have it, he is the god of the underworld there. This dark connection is seen by some as a deliberate sign from CERN to reveal its true calling. However, we can take this as a coincidence and further develop the CERN acronym as Conseil Européen pour la Recherche Nucléaire. To be honest, if someone really cares about it, they would find a lot of clues, coincidences, and curiosities linking CERN with Satanism. However, some of them were not accidental. For a while, CERN was popping up after typing apocalypse and Satanist terms into Google Maps. The Swiss Research Center displayed after typing New World Order or even Sixth Seal. The latter alludes to the 7 seals of the apocalypse that John of Patmos saw in his vision. The opening of the 6th of them, which is to be CERN, was to cause cataclysms and earthquakes. It is worth remembering as it will be related to the theory presented later in this episode. It is also worth noting here that Google Maps are relatively open for editing by users, so establishing a connection of these terms with CERN could only be a joke of an average internet user, and not necessarily evidence of an international conspiracy. Finally, I have left the strangest and strongest argument of the proponents of this theory. It is a video that was recorded on the premises of the facility, which gained fame in 2016. It shows a group of people dressed in black cloaks who are in the middle of some kind of a ritual. At the end of the video, we can see how they, allegedly, make a human sacrifice by stabbing a woman. The whole thing takes place at the front of the Shiva statue. Yes, the one in front of the CERN, which may indicate the satanic background of the event. The video is quite drastic and dark. If that didn't discourage you, you can see the whole thing on the next display device in our room. In fact, this video is really spooky. However, the worst part of it is the fact that there is no rational explanation for exactly how it came into being. In its famous surreal FAQ, CERN only comments on the matter with the following words. This video from summer 2016 was a work of fiction showing a contrived scene. CERN does not condone this kind of action, which breaches CERN's professional guidelines. People responsible for hoax were identified, and appropriate measures were taken. It follows that the entire action was a scene played by undisclosed perpetrators. Such an explanation for many conspiracy theorists is not sufficient. They mostly accuse the facility of lacking details of the stunt, which makes it feel as if CERN didn't know who perpetrated the joke. However, this video is certainly by far the most bizarre part of the matter, and leaving it to the point that it is just a joke is not enough. It would be more credible to provide detailed information on this incident, at least to try to reassure the supporters of the theory. As you may have noticed, there was a group of people who were really determined to show the whole world that CERN was just a group of Satan's followers. Most of their accusations can be easily and rationally countered, but as is the case with such issues, often interpreted attempts only confirm that something is wrong. According to the "if the hat fits, wear it" principle, CERN's connection to Satanism is the most comprehensive conspiracy theory to have ever developed about the center. However, there are also a few smaller theories that deserve our distinction. Well, it's not easy being a science center these days. Why is the ground shaking? Most of you are probably aware of tectonic plates and the side effects of their movement. They are responsible for the vast majority of earthquakes. Nevertheless, some do not take the easy way and look for alternative ways to explain the cataclysm. Of course, according to this theory, CERN is also the culprit. Also in 2016, what a coincidence, there were voices that CERN caused the August earthquake in Italy, during which more than 200 people were killed. All the confusion was caused by the Awake experiment that was started in June 2016. Its purpose was to investigate Wakefield plasma acceleration. However, the problem here was the location of the experiment, as it took place at the facility that until 2012 was home to the CERN Neutrinos to Gran Sasso CNGS project. The former CNGS facility is quite extensive, as it stretches from CERN to the Opera and Icarus detectors located 732 km away. They are located in the Gran Sasso National Laboratory of Italy. By the way, Gran Sasso is a mountain in the Apennines. However, the Awake experiment itself only used the parts of the tunnels closest to CERN. Even though the CERN to Gran Sasso experiment ended in 2012 and Awake was not sending any molecules to facilities in Italy, people were outraged. There was a belief that CERN, thanks to its earthquake ability, would in fact be a weapon to control people. As part of its defense, CERN issued a statement in which it recalled the existence of the Large Hadron Collider Safety Study Group, which is composed of independent scientists and is responsible for the safety assessment of research conducted at the facility. Remember when I said that it is worth remembering that some people believe that CERN is the sixth seal of the apocalypse and causes earthquakes? The Italian quake was the loudest CERN was accused of. However, there were also many less publicized cases, such as the 2015 Nepal earthquake. According to some, the scientists in Geneva had somehow had their hands on it as well, due to numerous allegations. This topic also appears in the Surreal FAQ. As a story, there is a clear denial of any relationship between the center and catastrophes, and an explanation of what causes earthquakes in nature. There is also an interesting fact that thanks to its extremely sensitive sensors, CERN can detect an earthquake. The black hole closer than you think. In 2019, the world celebrated the first ever photo of a black hole. As it turns out, some people think that we could have obtained them much earlier if we had photographed one of them made by CERN. Again, I will refer to the famous Surreal FAQ here, as there is also a question about black holes. When asked if CERN will generate a black hole, we do not get an unambiguous answer. The center emphasizes that in the cosmological sense, that is, the typical size of a black hole, it will certainly not be able to create. If you want to learn more about the fascinating topic of black holes and their relationship to CERN, be sure to listen to the episode 4 of our series, which is entirely devoted to this topic. The Raelians. If you've never heard of the Raelian cult, it's no wonder. I also found out about them only when I was collecting materials for the podcast. It is a really fascinating group, so I sincerely encourage you to find out more about them. In short, they are people who believe that humans were created by alien scientists also known as Elohim. These aliens, also called Elohim, have been unknowingly mistaken by people for gods for years. The list of Elohim members recognized as gods by humans includes the Buddha, Jesus of Nazareth, and Mohammed. According to them, after the bombing of Hiroshima in 1945, humanity entered the age of extinction, and if we do not stop further development of technology that is not aimed at peace, we will destroy ourselves. However, if we succeed, the Elohim will return to Earth and bestow on us with their technology and wisdom. Ironically, they are based in Geneva. The alleged human cloning in 2002 can be considered the greatest achievement of this group. Anyway, long story short, some of them have announced that they will be protesting at CERN. It was not about ending technological development, but about ending the destruction of micro-life forms that are found in every particle collided by the LHC. Nevertheless, the protests never happened, and the topic died down. The honorable mentions. Earlier, I have presented the theories that have gained the greatest publicity in the media and have received the greatest amount of detail. Of course, there have been a whole host of conspiracy theories about CERN that are just as absurd, but for many reasons, they have not gained as many followers or so much publicity. However, I could not sleep well if I didn't introduce them here even briefly. Therefore, we come to the last part of our article, namely, honorable mentions. Weather control. Due to many speculations about the facility's alleged ability to control the weather, CERN has also included this topic in its Surreal FAQ. It briefly stated that the facility cannot control the weather with a medium and that the magnets used in experiments are similar in power to brain scans devices. Time travel. Tom Weiler and Shui Manho presented the theory according to which the LHC may be the first time travel machine. This theory only applies to a theoretical molecule called the Higgs singlet and does not take humans into account. Thus, it's not interesting enough to catch the attention of a larger audience. Living inside a black hole. Science fiction. No, for some, reality. Some people think that we are living inside of a black hole that was created by CERN while discovering the Higgs boson in 2012. Even though this is probably my favorite theory of all, well, maybe apart from the Raelians, there's probably no need to add anything. We've just reached the end of that episode. If you have made it to this point, we are very grateful for your time, and we hope you enjoyed the story we have prepared for you. The conspiracy theories presented here are only the most popular ones about CERN, besides which there are many other theories. The Swiss Science Center is a really intriguing place that can surprise us in many ways. Some of them are described in other episodes of our series. Thus, if you want to discover more strange curiosities about CERN, we strongly encourage you to listen to the rest of the episodes. If you have any questions about the episode or anything that comes to your mind about our work, feel free to find us in the room and ask. In the meantime, that's it for me, and until later.
That's all we have time for this episode. Now, if you've listened to any of the other episodes in this series, which I obviously highly recommend you do, you might have noticed something a little bit different about this one. Now, we don't call ourselves the Frontiers of Science podcast for nothing. This podcast episode was read entirely by an artificial intelligence. Not just text-to-speech, but a proper AI, which is pretty impressive how far it's come and how realistic it sounds. But anyway, on the next episode, we're going to be asking if CERN is capable of creating black holes. So definitely stick around for that one. And until next time, thanks for listening.